All right, are we ready to start? All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Architecture Review Board, Town of Brighton. Today is April 26th, 2020, 4 o'clock. Our first item of business tonight is the approval of the March 22nd, 2022 minutes. Can I get a motion to approve?
I so move.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay. Secretary, please, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Secretary, please note that our minute from March 22nd, 2022 are approved and accepted by the committee. Second on our agenda is old business. So 3AR-1-22, revised plans for 55 Middlebrook Lane. Dwayne and Brenda Smullen construct a new front porch on an existing single-family dwelling. Are they here?
We are here. Yes.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
We start their presentation.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have resubmitted revised plans for the construction of the porch on the front two-story section of our home, taking into consideration the recommendations noted from the board. We've changed the pitch of the roof from a 412 and 812 to a 312 and 612, which did add more height and eliminate the heaviness of the roof, which you had commented to us in the first meeting.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt. Can we get the drawings up, please?
We're working on it.
Okay.
And
thank you.
and your video, please, can you hit your video? Are you going to participate by video?
The small ones had trouble with video last time. I don't know if they're able to join us by video.
Oh, okay. I just prefer seeing somebody who's talking, but that's all right.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Can you see the screen share now, everyone?
I see a Google News flash.
Yeah, it was Liberty Mutual ad.
Okay.
Windows.
I've got the plans up on my phone, but there we are.
There we go.
Okay, are we good now?
Good. Yep. Could you see them okay?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we changed the pitch of the roof from a 412 and 812 to a 312 and 612, which did add more height and eliminated that heaviness of the roof, which you had commented to us in the first meeting. So we thank you for that insight. We also reduced the length of the porch to better align with the two-story section that it's going to be attached to. Although not seen much these days due to the complexity of the construction, we still like the hip design for the roof, giving it more character than that of just a simple shed roof. Our neighborhood, actually on our street, there's a variety of house and roof designs consisting of ranch, colonial, contemporary, along with gable, hip, and gambrel roof styles. So we're definitely in no way a cookie cutter neighborhood where we need to have every house look the same. We did show our design to our neighbors on both sides and across the street, and they'll be looking at the porch every day, and they all were happy with the design, liked the looks of it. We actually received compliments on how much nicer it'll make the curb appeal of the house with the porch on there. The neighbor who's just added a porch in 2019 had commented they wish they could have done a hip roof. However, the way their garage attaches to their house, it didn't allow for that type of construction as well as the shed roof did. The other thing in viewing the frontmost section of the porch, We wanted consistency there between the posts, the rails, and the opening. So therefore, it creates like a 1/3 section across the front. This does not exactly center the front door. However, the front door is not centered on the house either. And anyone walking or driving by, really, I don't think they're going to realize that unless they stop exactly centered on our door. I did make note of there's other houses in the area that don't have doors centered on the front posts and rails, but you'd never realize it until you made that concerted effort to stop exactly centered on the door. So we don't feel that that's an issue, is going to be a problem for the overall look of the porch. So thank you for reconsidering.
Well, thank you. Any questions? Let's start with Casey.
No, I think good improvements. And so thank you for that.
Andy?
Yes.
Is Andy on? Mary?
Yes, I think it's an improvement. I'd like to see the side view, hear about the downspout locations, and yes. Now you see that little half column that you've got there on the side when it hits the house?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, can you go back to the front view, please? One of our issues with the centering on the door was also the size of the space in front of the door, which seems like very wide. If you want to consider, you might turn the corner with the railing and have that half post on the left side after the post coming in, so you can frame the door better. I think we talked about that last time, and I guess you decided you didn't want to do that, but I'm just bringing it up because that would help to make the door seem more centered. And you're right, you have to be right smack in front of it to notice, but it's still a very wide opening.
Okay.
So that's just a comment. It's something to keep in mind. If you think you could do that, that would improve it. And I think you'll find that it's an improvement.
I think it's sort of hard to tell in a drawing. When we get to the actual product, then we'll be able to see it in real life. We can then reassess.
Well, if you change it considerably, you have to come back here.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Or, yeah, so. Is Andy on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Andy, any comments?
No, I think it's a better representation here. Thank you very much for looking at the roof. I think one of the questions that Mary had and I have is where the gutter placement's going to be, because you cannot make a connection to your garage connector area. Are you intending on having gutters on each end of the porch? And if so, where are those gutters going to be located? The reason we ask is on any type of house, having gutters that are fully visible is a detraction.
You mean the downspouts?
I'm sorry, yes, where the downspouts come. Thanks, Mary.
I believe we discussed that on the original meeting. There is a gutter from the second story section, which comes down that corner. It's not drawn in this drawing, but it comes right down that corner. And the gutters from the porch would just be tied in right there into the existing downspout.
Oh, good.
Okay, thank you.
So the only comment I would make is I would consider either a full post or column on that backside or a plaster on the back corner of the porches, but that's up to you. But I think it's a better representation of what we were looking for. And you can call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer.
Very good. Thank you much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate it.
Yep, thanks.
Next on our agenda is 3AR 3-22 revised. 36 Midland, James Kruger, construct addition to a side of an existing single-family dwelling. Is Mr. Kruger on board here?
Yeah, I'm right here. I also have Kip Finley joining us. He's the architect for the project. I don't know if you can unmute him also.
How are you, Kip?
I'm doing fine.
You want to go ahead with your presentation?
Sure. So we'll start with the comments that we got
Just a minute.
from Jeff.
Or wait for Jeff to pull it up, or Jason.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So Jeff Hirsch provided some comments when it was tabled at the last meeting. One of them was to provide a roof plan, which we do have on sheet 9. Additional elevations, which we do have on sheets 7 and 8. And we do have a full set of plans. So there's the floor plans, details, and all that. We added returns to the roof addition on sheet 5. You can see that on the sides. And correct the drawing. I believe that was the eaves over the double windows in the front on sheet 5. Right there. So the eaves above the double windows to the right of the front door were lower, but that isn't true. So I think that's what they meant by correct the roof. So this also, we've added some board and batten in the gable ends. I think the biggest thing was the roof that I understood being the comments from the last time. Is that true?
Casey, do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, the roofs were the biggest issue, so maybe we can focus on that sheet and you can walk us through the existing and the new and how it's all tying in, because that was
All right,
last time.
sheet 9. Yep, that's it. So it's basically a T gable. The main part of it, the gable end faces the street. And then there's a joining gable that goes parallel to the street, north and south, over the dining room. That's a fairly low pitch. And we've added crickets in 2 spots next to the chimney and where the house is there to shed the water. That will have to have 2 layers of underlay. So it'll have to have ice and water shield and a layer of felt under the shingles. But if you go to sheet sheet 7, that shows the little bit of a gable end that's there, which is pretty much the same slope as the front of the house over the 3 windows that are in the over the living room. So everything does drain fine.
Any
I
other?
feel
And why, sorry, this is one of our questions last time. So why is the peak of the new roof, why isn't that aligning with the roof that's extending over your entrance?
because the pitch would be lower than 2.5 on 12. And that's just too low for that. The roof or the eaves on the part that sticks out with the porch are not full 8-foot ceilings in there.
Mhm.
So to get 8-foot ceilings, we have to compromise and have the roof pitch be a little less. From the street, you don't notice it at all. On
Yeah.
sheet 5. So there, you don't really notice it at all. And it's in the same plane as the roof that's over the 3 windows that are between the garage and the porch. It's just forward of it a little bit.
Okay. And then it also looks like you changed the south elevation.
South elevation, I don't know that no, I guess we did have one, but
We had a
yes,
discrepancy between the original drawings that I had and what you had, Kip, and so you updated them to
Okay.
match. That was a discrepancy that they noticed between your initial drawings and what I designed with Jim and Karen Coffee. So that's kind of how they wanted it set up. And so that now is how it'll be built.
yes, we had about a day to get the drawings done before the deadline the first time. So we had a hodgepodge of floor plan and my elevations and that. Sorry for that.
Okay. And then the kind of inner side view that you added, that's just now where the existing door gets removed. That's just becoming a blank wall. Is that true? That you're not replacing it with a
Yes.
window or anything?
Yes, that's true. It'd be a blank wall.
Okay.
Can we see the floor plan, Jason, please? Okay.
So what we're accomplishing in this is as they're aging, they want that first floor master suite and just a little off room. It's called the dining room. It's mainly for her to have a place to have a table other than in the kitchen for sewing and other things, hobbies that she has, and a little reading nook up front, which is kind of the idea of that space, and not having the master bedroom right off the living room. So they're super excited to get the project started.
Mary, do you want to continue with your questions?
I'm okay. I defer to Casey and you and Andrew.
Andy?
Yeah, no, thank you for the updated drawings. A little bit clearer now. Understand what's going on with that roof section. Just on that hip or on sheet 9, the roof plan,
Mhm.
the cricket that is at the corner of the house. So
Where the
that,
crosshatch is.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I guess I'm challenged right now with the new ridge coming all the way through, and you're going to be kicking just that one little section on the left-hand side is going to go down to the existing porch roof, and then the remainder is then going to go, the drainage is going to go to the rear of the home. Is that correct? Am I reading that correctly? Or how does?
Yes, it's the part to the right will go towards the dining room and around by the chimney to the rear of the house.
Okay.
And the part on the left will go down the valley towards the alcove or the courtyard, as they call
Okay.
it. Yep.
Okay. And I did see that you showed some representation of gutters in some locations, especially at the porch area, and then new gutters that are going to tie into what is that that nook area. And then you have places to discharge those downspouts.
Yes, actually, if you look at sheet 6 of 9, the place where the downspout should be on each side of the porch is right where the siding says R&R existing siding.
Yep.
And there's just to the left of that, there's a corner board right there. That's where the downspout should come down, so it's not on the face of the porch.
Okay.
And it can be tilted so it comes there. Same way on the other side, which would
Okay.
be sheet 7. It would be where the end of the wall, right there. That's where it is now, and that'll be where it would be in the future. So we don't have to have them out on the front elevation of the posts.
That makes sense.
And then in the south side, it can all go to the back. That's shown on the roof plan on sheet 9. So there's a downspout field located on the back, would be the southeast corner there. And then the other one, that one's a little tough. That one shows up on sheet 8 of 9. I think we might have to extend the gutter a little bit over the left light of the door and bring it down there. Yes. Because we don't really want it at the other side to come down behind the deck.
Right. Okay. All right. So you're giving that some consideration. You know what our concerns are in relationship to, location of those. So it looks as if you've got that kind of figured out here. So that's great.
Okay.
Yeah, Stuart, I don't have any further questions.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. I just have one comment, and can we go to the west elevation? So you've got these beautiful corner boards everywhere throughout. Is there any way we can delineate this part of the plane with some sort of demarcation to break up this expanse, whether it's putting a false corner board in here or?
Are you talking between the double windows and
Yeah.
single window?
Yeah,
Yeah, we talked about that. It would just be a false
yeah,
corner board there.
yeah. Does anyone on the committee see that or have any concerns?
I actually think not having that delineated is okay. There's so many corners everywhere. It's almost as if that expanse can work without one. That's my opinion.
Mary Kate, you guys okay with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with how it is. I see what you're saying, but I'd almost want it to come out more if you did that and make it a real corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about stepping the foundation out and stuff like that, but it just didn't make sense.
Okay. Just wanted to heighten the awareness on it. All right, I have no more questions or comments. Kip, you guys can call Jeff's office in the morning, get our answer.
Great,
All
thanks so
right,
much.
thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
I got to pull up my agenda, sorry. Next on our agenda is 3 AR-4-22. Revised plans for 2720 West Henrietta Road. Full exterior and interior renovation of existing steel building for conversion to a supermarket. Is Raza here? Anyone here for that project? All right, I'm going to move on to new business. 4 AR-1-22. 112 Babcock Drive, Eugene Hung. Construct a canopy over the front entrance. Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, I'm Melissa Carlson. I'm the architect. And this is existing house, and they just want a canopy roof over the entrance that's next to the garage that they use more often than the front entrance.
Okay, let's pull the pictures up.
Are you able to see those?
We got
Not
your,
for a minute.
here we go. Here we are. Okay, go ahead.
So we're gonna match the shingles on the roof as good as we can, match the slope of the existing roof, which is sort of like 7 and 12. And a hip roof, have one bracket down the side, and the siding on the house on the both corners where it's adjacent is vinyl siding. I think they're going to reside, and the bracket will be clad. The ceiling underneath there will be clad or some sort of vinyl. And there will be a gutter and a downspout next to the window, and what you can't see in front of the nose of the car, there's a little brick patio that's flush with the driveway, and then there's a bit of a garden area several feet down that left side of the house next to the brick, and that's where the downspout will discharge.
Okay, any questions, Casey?
Yeah, I'm definitely questioning the location of the downspout. Looking, yeah, at that elevation, because you're essentially right down next to the window on top of adjacent to the shingles, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure when they reside the house, they may or may not replace all the gutters. I didn't want to dump it down next to the garage door because it gets kind of icy there.
Right.
I'm trying to keep it away from, they've only got one step in front of the door, so I'm trying to keep it away from that, and like I said, drain it off to the garden.
Right.
I thought it would look clunkier if it went out over the top of the window and then went down.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And you don't want to add a receptor right next to the garage door?
Hadn't
You're
explored,
just gonna surface, right?
pardon me?
You're just gonna dump it on the surface versus having it go into a receptor?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's my only question.
Okay, Andy?
Well, I have one of my same questions too. I mean, realizing you're discharging that into a patio area, but that's a paved surface as well, and you could get buildup of ice as well in that location. So that is a bit of a concern. My other question though relates to the bracket itself. Is there any decorative elements of the bracket, or is it purely just going to be a square bracket that is clad with vinyl to match up with the house?
Right now, I'm just looking at square. It is not needed. The structural engineer just gave us a preliminary review and said, I don't think we really need it. So we can kind of play around with size and look at it. Again, trying to squeeze it between the garage door and the door, just there wasn't much room there. And we could do without it. I just liked it giving a little bit of a more support look.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, from a looks perspective and aesthetics perspective, having a roof overhang without some kind of support back to the house might look strange, because there's nothing else protruding out from the house right now.
Yeah. There's another roof very much like this, but maybe 8 feet square, a couple houses down, and it has a post on it.
Right.
So this is not big enough to need that. And I kept the bracket small so that the step, when a person is going up the step, you don't hit your head on it.
Right, exactly. Okay.
And when you said downspout discharging onto the patio, the downspout, if it goes 3 feet forward, it will be discharging into a garden area.
Okay, so it's not discharging onto that paved patio area. It'll actually be discharging right into a garden space.
Yeah, like
Okay.
underneath the right-hand shutter on that window is about where the garden starts.
Okay, and is the walkway to the main entry of the house, does the walkway come off of the driveway right in front of where the car is located right now?
Yeah, uh-huh.
And there is a downspout that goes along that edge of the house. Can you not, and does that discharge into a connection point underground, or is that on above grade?
Not sure. Most of the time I've been over there, it's covered in snow, so I haven't looked closely at that. I suppose we could try and stretch it over there. It would just be higher above the ground before we start sloping it in order to get it out there.
Yeah, that might be a comment that I might make during deliberation, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be
I have
pretty-
nothing. I have nothing further, Stuart.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Mary?
Yeah, okay, so you have a bracket on one side, and that means you're gonna remove that lighting fixture that's there, if that's what I think that is.
Yeah.
And then the downspout comes from, in your drawing, it's showing it right on top of the shutter, which I have a little bit of an issue with. And then there's no bracket on the other side, which for purely aesthetic reasons might have been a thing to consider. I don't know why you can't put a channel drain in front of the garage and run the runoff over there, but it's a very small roof, so I can see why you wouldn't want to get into that kind of expense to do that. Still, there are aesthetic issues with this, but I don't really have a question about it because I think it's already been addressed, but I'm just concerned about that downspout in that location and just the single bracket instead of two brackets. I know it's a funny shaped roof. It's a house, the door is right in the corner. So, I'm not trying to resolve the problem for you. I'm just noting that it makes me a little bit uncomfortable, the aesthetics of it.
When you say a bracket on the other side, you mean something we would see as an angle on the south elevation, or do you mean something tight against the wall?
Well, I'm not trying to describe an alternative design to you. I'm just saying, usually when there's one bracket, there's another one. And, obviously you've decided you don't need it for structural reasons. I don't even know if you need this one, if you're anchoring in to the house. I don't know how you're going to do the structure, so I can't speak to that. It just doesn't look right to me, but like I said, we'll talk about it during our deliberation, and I just didn't know if you had anything to say to that.
I like it the way it is, so that's why I just put one bracket. Because it's tight against the house on the other side.
Thank you.
I do have one question, sorry, that I didn't bring up during my turn. What drove the height of it? Because it does look very high compared to the top of the door.
Yeah.
I did play with that a lot. If it's down low, then the bracket really gets squeezed in between the garage and the door, the gets squeezed between the two doors. And I can't say anything else than that it felt too low, having it be down that low. So this seemed to be welcoming instead of walking in and feeling like you're bumping your head.
Are you all set, Casey? Casey, all set?
Yes,
Okay,
sorry. Push mute too fast.
I think I agree with all the comments on the floor here. My concern, again, what Casey said, is the height, and I think your last comment really says it all. Your focus is on that bracket. I mean, when you're designing a roof to accommodate the bracket, I think we're heading in the wrong direction. I just see too many conflicts. I think you got a pretty simple piece of architecture to work with here, and this is fighting it. I think there's a few solutions to this issue. too many conflicts in this with the roof, the window, everything. So that's where I'm at. But what you can do is call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer. We appreciate you presenting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stuart, can I
Yeah.
just add, can I ask just one last question?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I apologize, but did you consider not doing the configuration of the roof? Did you look at just a single roof plane as
Shed
a
roof?
shed, like a shed roof versus what you have proposed as a
Yes.
solution?
Yes,
And the reason you did not go in that direction?
all the existing roofs are hip roof. And I think as I heard you talking about one other, it made it look heavier and bigger to have it shed towards the front.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna make a comment on that too. I mean, you could almost consider a flat awning roof with brackets on top, very almost cable-like or rods to support your roof. You can lower it down. You're not going to conflict with a lot of different things. But anyways, you can call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you. Jason, do you want to try to pull up the next one? And we'll, next on our agenda is 4AR-2-22, 165 Deanna Drive, ABC. Rebuild existing rear side porch roof.
And ABC is a typo, so let me pull up the drawings.
Is that client here?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, welcome. Go ahead and
Thank
do your
you.
presentation.
Yes, we're replacing a roof over our deck, which the deck and the roof were both approved by the Architectural Review Committee when they were built. I'm not sure of the exact year that was. As you can see from the picture, the roof is really, I don't want to say it's temporary, but it's made out of panels of some sort of prefabricated material. It's never worked very well. It was too flat. It is leaking. And so our goal is to replace it with a much more permanent roof and a roof which ties into the existing house much better. It'll, as you can see from the architect plans, it'll gable into the house. We are re-shingling the entire house, re-roofing the entire house. So the new shingles on the deck roof will be a total match to the house. A little bit of siding will go on the east end of the new roof. We have some leftover siding from when we have the house done. We're hoping it's enough. If it's not, they will match as best they can. We're also putting in all new gutters on the house at the same time, and all gutters on here are going to connect into the current gutters in the house, which all lead to underground drainage. We feel that, especially if you look at, I think it's the north elevation, just this is going to look so much better from the street. It's going to look more like it's a part of the house rather than just an add-on of, as I say, what I would consider essentially a temporary roof. So that's the general idea of the project. Our neighbors 2 doors down, the Bennett's at the corner of Viennawood and Middlebrook, just did a very, very similar project. They actually built the whole deck and everything at the same time. They put the roof on. Our roof would look very, very similar to what they just had done. And I'm guessing that I guess the reason this always comes up, we've had to come to the Architectural Review Board before, is because we're a corner lot. And I don't know if anybody's really sure what's considered our backyard and what's our side yard, but that north elevation, typically our house is seen from Vienna Wood Drive. And so this would be the typical view in terms of what you would see from the street right there, correct?
Okay, thank you. Casey, any comments, concerns?
Just a couple. I agree, it's an improvement. So I understand why you're doing the project. First question, I think if you go to the second page, is there a reason that you're not aligning your eaves with the existing? Because right now your existing roof does kind of continue that same horizontal plane, and this one seems to be starting higher than the rest of your roof. Was there a reason?
Yeah, yeah. The architect and the people from Graves Brothers both addressed that. The overhanging eave is only, if I'm sitting here actually looking at it at the moment, it's only about 7.5 feet above the deck level. And so if they left the eave, what would happen is you would step out onto the deck, the eave would be just above your head, and then the roof of, that you're going to see from the deck, the ceiling would be higher than that. And they just thought that wouldn't look the best, and in their eyes, they didn't think the construction would be the best either.
Okay. And then my other question was, on the two sides running out from the house, you've got headers that drop down. But then if you pull up the elevation on same page, sorry, page 2 where we're at, what's happening across at this end view, the east elevation? What's happening there? I mean, you've got siding, but what's tying in the ends of your roof? Knowing that there's lower headers on the two other sides.
I don't understand your question.
Casey, it almost appears as if a line was not drawn to continue that header across the front.
Well, the plan doesn't call for a header either. So I'm kind of wondering.
Well, it needs a trim board or something. It needs trim or something.
It needs something, because right now it just kind of looks like you've got siding hanging. You need something that's going to kind of finish off the bottom edge. Yeah, thank you. Where the mouse is.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to what the architect had in mind. So, I mean, I'm sure something would be added. I mean, I'm sure something has to be added there to make it look right and to tie everything together.
Okay. We might just add that then as a comment to kind of clarify what's happening there. Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Andy?
Yeah, I think this will be quite an improvement to the overall architecture of the house. The question I have is, how deep are your eaves today? Because it does appear that the eaves on this proposed addition are not the same. And I wondered whether or not that comment that Casey just commented about with the roof heights, whether or not extending the same eave depth would improve that appearance.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you the current eaves, as I say, I'm actually sitting here looking at them. I would guess they're, I don't know, about 18 inches out from the house. I don't know if the plans actually show the exact depth of the new eaves or not. So I'm not sure exactly how to address that.
Yeah, it will be a little bit, I do agree, it will be a little bit strange, potentially strange looking with the eaves not matching all the way around the house. I understand your point, the height and the clearance above your head. And you can see it on that photo pretty clearly. The roof structure, underside of the roof structure is right above your doorway. So
correct.
Yeah. What are you?
And that's why they wanted to take out that part of the eave right there.
Right. What are you intending on doing to the underside of the roof structure?
It'll be a, there will be a flat ceiling. I'm not sure exactly the specific height. That may be on these plans somewhere. So it's not going to be, you know, cathedral style or gambrel style or anything like that. It will be a flat ceiling.
Yep, I see it on the section AA. It does see beadboard ceiling.
Okay.
It does say it is an optional, but if that's what you're intending on doing, okay.
Yeah, that's as far as I knew, it was an option, that's what we chose.
All right, very good. Stuart,
Okay.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Okay, Mary?
My only comment was that in the where the vinyl is in the pediment, that it needs a trim board on the bottom to close it off a little bit. If it's in the same plane as the rest of the you know, connecting the eaves, as Casey already mentioned. That was my only comment about this. It's unfinished on the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. In looking at it now, it's not something I noticed before, but certainly that would be something I would address with the contractor and the architect.
Yeah, so as far as the rest of my questions, they've already been asked and answered. So I'm okay, Stuart. Thank you.
Okay. I've got a few comments that might spin this in another direction, so I apologize. If I look at the photos and your drawing, it looks like the ridge line of your proposed roof is going to be higher than your garage ridge line. And then when I apply that to the picture, it looks pretty high. So that's a question. And it may, if that's true, we may want to consider correcting that. Then the other, this is probably more directed towards Jeff. We don't have a site plan for this property in this presentation. The proposed structure is expanding beyond the existing structure. So is there any concern about setbacks or variances or anything like that?
They're okay. That part of the house is considered the side yard. So they have some room.
We're sure on the setbacks?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so where are the two front yards?
The front yards are on the street edges, and then this one is the side. This one would be considered the side yard.
Okay. But the ridge line, are you able to answer that question, or is anyone pick that up?
Well, the garage, it looks to me like it actually joins the roof line on the west side of the house. And so you're saying when the deck roof line comes in on the east side, you'd like it to be at the same level?
No, I'm not dictating what level it needs to be at. I'm just saying that it appears, and it may be just because of the two-dimensional drawing, it appears that your ridge line is going to be higher than your garage ridge line. That's
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be or not. I do know that
if it is, I think it's too high.
The architect designed the roof with the pitch that he thought was the best for that situation.
Okay. Any other questions? Committee? Any other questions, concerns? All right, you can call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer.
Could I just ask one question? Some of these modifications you talked about, like just having a wider eave, is that something that you could approve the project and we agree to do that? Or is this something where I have to come back next month for?
We don't know. We haven't deliberated yet, so I can't.
Okay,
answer
well, I didn't know in past
So-
practice if a small change like the depth of the eave was enough to sideline the project for a while. That's all I was wondering.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. And Jeff would be the person to talk to tomorrow about that. So,
Okay,
all right. I'm not
Thank
trying to
you.
be evasive or anything. I just, I don't want to lead you down the wrong road.
okay,
So,
thank you.
you bet. Thank you. Next on our agenda. Sorry, I lost my page here. Is 4A AR-3-22 184 Penfield Road, Green Spark Solar, roof mounted solar. Is anyone from Green Spark? There he is. Okay.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Is one
All right.
is that right? 184?
That's correct. Yep.
Is that whereabouts is that located?
It's right off of 490.
All right, I thought the
Right
high
down by
number.
it's right down by the 490 access.
Okay, all right. I thought we worked in the other direction. All right, I know this house. Okay.
Yep. So what we're proposing here is roof mounted solar array, 18 modules going on the front of the house. I've been to these boards a couple times before, so I know how everyone here feels about external conduit. Unfortunately, in this case, it looks like external conduit on the front of the house is kind of the only option here. There isn't really an actual attic space. There's a knee wall in the front of the house that doesn't connect. So if you can, exactly that drawing right there, we're just looking at doing a simple line of conduit up over the dormer in the middle there, going under both arrays, and then going up over the ridge to the back of the house. We looked at, doing two separate conduit runs coming out of maybe the soffit area, but unfortunately, that attic space is all spray foam installation, so you can't really reach that space. However, we are willing to paint that conduit to match the existing roof surface. And I have included also, if you scroll up a little bit, a picture from the sidewalk. I think, yep, so as you're looking at the house from the sidewalk, once that conduit is installed, I really don't think you're going to be able to see it. That's one thing working to our advantage, just based on how it falls behind that dormer there. And I think, honestly, it'll be largely covered by the array itself. And then that conduit goes down the back side of the roof into the basement area over to the main service panel where the balance of system components will be mounted. There's no battery storage or anything on this job. It's a backfed breaker, so pretty simple as far as interconnection goes.
All right. Casey, any questions?
Yeah, we go to the plan view. Silly question.
Mhm.
The set of arrays are to the right of your main entrance. Is there a reason why can't we take the one that's on the top left? There's a pair, and bring it down so it's 3, 2, and 1, and then it flanks the entrance in the same way as the left side. That makes sense. I wish we could draw. I know there's a way somehow, but
Yeah, right. I know what you're saying.
yeah,
That panel right there. Yep, I understand what you're saying. I think in this instance, you could move that panel there. Normally, we're dictated by fire setbacks, but since you have that access roof there, I think you probably could move that panel there if the board thinks that looks better and the homeowner agrees.
right. Yeah, it would just be nice to somehow get a little. Obviously, it's not a symmetrical house, but
Mhm.
it's at least treat them the same. So if you're going to step in on the right and step in on the left, I see. Obviously, there's a couple of vents coming up. But
Sure.
it's one or the other. It's just odd that they're treated completely differently. So that's my opinion. And then obviously, I'm not loving the conduit, but we'll let the board talk about that one. So that's all I got.
I think the one thing with having that panel there that works to our favor is, I think that largely obscures that external conduit. Like I said, it would kind of just come right out of the side of the array there, right behind the dormer. So if you're looking at it from the sidewalk, I don't think it would be that visible. Where if you move that panel, I think it would be a little bit more noticeable.
True. I think you'll also see the one on the left side, though, looking at the sidewalk view, one coming up and over to the back.
Right. And like I said, I know how the board feels about external conduit. We try to avoid it at all costs. And generally speaking, we're pretty good about it. But You know, we've done a couple of follow-up site visits here trying to come up with a solution to avoid it. And unfortunately, I just don't think it is avoidable in this circumstance.
That's all I have.
Andy?
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite houses to look at when I drive by it. Just want to let you know. Really attractive front. Love, I mean, so I understand. I'm not and I understand that it faces south, and this is the location you need the solar panels on.
Yeah.
Understand that, and I can't take away from that. So it goes all the way to the conduit, and the conduit runs to a certain degree in my mind. Is there anything that you can do to those conduits that would not take them out of view, but at least get them in the same color range as the roof itself? And I realize that's problematic, because if the roof were ever redone, then you have to redo everything along the way. But I mean, is this just going to be a gray conduit, or are you attempting to try to do something to it? What's your...
Right. So we have talked to Mr. Yosha, and we plan on painting that conduit to match the roof surface as best as possible. If it came down to it and the roof had to be replaced, I mean, honestly, the conduit is a drop in the bucket compared to what the project would largely be. So I don't really see that being much of an issue. But yeah, this is, you know, I did it in red here just so you could kind of get a visual of it, but that conduit would be painted to match the existing roof surface there.
Okay.
Oh man, if he's still here? You're here all night? Your boy going home?
Are you all set, Andy?
Yeah, I don't have anything further. Thank you.
Mary?
Yeah, when I saw this with solar panels on it and they're not symmetrical in any way, I just really had an adverse reaction to it, I'll be honest. I like where Casey was going with her idea of trying to do something to mirror these two patterns better. And I was thinking, I guess, 3, 3, and 3 on the left side, removing 3 of the panels. So it would be stepped like it is on the right. And I know the two sides aren't equal. So 3, 3, and 3, 2, 2, and 2 would work. And then I thought, well, that's a sacrifice of power. But then when I looked at the photograph, the roof of the entryway does cast a shadow in both directions, and the staggering makes a little bit of sense in the sense that the solar light will be blocked. If you can show us, Jason, please, the photo. So I think if they were staggered on both sides, stepped away from the center, it wouldn't be a huge loss. And you'd have 3 stepped, 3 stepped, 3, and 2 step 2 step 2, like you have them now. At least it will have some sort of compositional coherence. I mean, it is a beautiful house.
Right.
And I don't think, you know, maybe 5 years from now, the technology will be completely different. It'll be so much easier to do this in a way that isn't as distracting. But the way we're working with what we have right now. I have one more question about this conduit, because everyone says they're going to paint the conduit to match the roof. What,
Sure.
You know, what is this conduit actually made of? How is it painted, and how durable are these colors when the conduit is matched to the
Right.
roof?
So it's just a regular rigid steel conduit. We've painted them before and never really had an issue. I mean, it's, you know, everything we use is external rated paint for that purpose. And
So
I mean,
they're just sprayed. They're not like,
right, it's
not
not,
factory
it's just sprayed,
sprayed.
right? You're not painted on with, you know, a brush or anything like that, but they are meant for that purpose. And I've never had any issues as far as paint not holding up to the elements. And if any reason they had to be redone, it wouldn't be too much of an invasive process to get up there and respray that conduit. But I don't really see that being much of an issue. My only concern with losing modules when it comes to this project, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously we try and cover as much of the homeowner's energy usage as possible. This is a considerable investment that people are making. And we're already covering about 58% of Mr. Yosha's usage. And I think at a certain point, once you start losing modules, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze, so to speak. So, I mean, obviously we try to avoid it as much as possible. And, you know, we try and keep symmetry as much in mind as possible as this one as well. But I don't think you're really gaining any sense of symmetry by moving modules on this project per se either. Like I said, we'd be more than willing to move that one module as long as homeowner agrees to that. If you know, that's what it takes to get the project approved, but ultimately, you know, we're trying to keep as many of these modules as possible.
Well, if you go to the 6th sheet, assuming that the plan is more accurate than the rendering,
Mhm.
couldn't you, if you're on the left side of the entryway, couldn't you add, add a panel there with above your vents and then take away the panel at the bottom? Yep. And then you're still staggered and you're slightly symmetrical.
Yeah, I think that's doable.
And
If you-
it's a trade-off.
That's a good idea, Casey.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's doable. The array would probably have to move up, you know, on the roof plane a little bit there to dodge that vent. But I don't see an issue with that. Again, you know, with the setbacks, we have these access routes there, so we have a little bit more flexibility as far as fire setbacks go. So that would probably be doable. Yeah.
So then you'd have 4, 4, and 3, 4 stepped and 2, 2, and 2 stepped. The important thing is stepping around the entrance roof.
Sure. Yep.
Everyone all set?
I comment?
Yeah, I still have a few comments to make here. The only problem with moving that panel I foresee is in the winter time, you may have a shadow cast that's going to disrupt your efficiency. My comment on the conduits. I'm coming off a huge electrical project, so a lot of conduit is stainless steel. I really don't think you're going to be able to paint stainless steel if that's what you're going to use. My recommendation, looking at this, is there any way that you can run that conduit up underneath your eave in the front on your dormer? Can you go to the front elevation photo? So I'm wondering if you can tuck it down in and run it right up under the eave and back up, and your runs panel to panel would be definitely hidden.
So far as to go out in order.
Yeah, I mean, that's an option we could explore. Does add a considerable length to the conduit run, and you know, I think
Well, you prefaced it by saying if you had to replace the conduit, it's not a big deal and it's not a huge cost. So that's what caught my attention of adding a few extra feet.
Right. I don't think replacing conduit that runs across over that dormer would be, but once you start doing lengths underneath his dormer,
Well, you
here,
wouldn't have to replace it to redo your roof.
Sure.
It's one installation, and you know, doing it the other way, you got 2 sets. If you have to pull it or pull it off or a roof, you're replacing conduit and wire in 2 different places.
Yeah, I mean, I guess ultimately it depends on you know, what the board decides as well. If you'd rather move that panel that's on the bottom right there on that left array, then I think you'd see more of that conduit if you're going across the front of the dormer like that. And in my opinion, I think it's gonna be more noticeable that way as opposed to just going over the dormer. But like I said, I think that, you know, it's just opinion of the board at that point.
It's more sustainable. Isn't that the purpose of this?
Yeah, I guess I don't understand how that would be more sustainable, but
It's never has to be moved again. You're not going to be throwing it out, right? It's installed once for the life of your solar project, for the life of your roof. You never have to replace that conduit. Your roof, you might have to replace in 5 years and 10 years after that. So it's multiple replacement on the conduit.
Right, yeah. Again, I mean, I think if you're replacing your roof, that whole array has to come down anyway. I think honestly, we'd probably end up replacing the conduit at that point, just because from a price standpoint, replacing conduit is
That's my point. Thank
right,
you.
is not much of an issue.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Can I make a comment?
Sure. And you are the homeowner?
Yeah, my name's Asaf Yosha. I'm the owner of the home. I appreciate the comments on the house in general. It's how we kind of found the house when we were just walking by it, and it was the curb appeal that got us. You know, we're trying to sustain that curb appeal. We've been there for like 4 years now. We're starting to make more in the way of the landscaping in the front of the house. We hope to put in a brick pathway. We paved the driveway. It was all gravel. So we're trying to add to that as well. I know that it's can be a matter of taste as well, but I think because of our general approach to solar power and doing well by the climate, we drive by homes, and whenever we see solar panels, for us it's a plus, it's a positive. We look at that. I can appreciate the need for symmetry. In fact, I think when we were first getting some original proposals, we were trying to fit in the panels in different ways to give it that stepped look and more panels. And I think just in terms of what I've heard, I could tell you that, you know, just kind of based on the homeowners that we are, certainly for the lifetime that we hope to be in this house, making it continue to look good, you know, meaning if the conduit appears to be showing and sticking out in a sore way, that would be important to us. And, you know, if that meant touching up the paint or that sort of thing. As for the, you know, technical specifications, I have to defer, of course, to you guys and to solar, Greenspark Solar. And that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can give Jeff's office a call in the morning and get our answer.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Yep, thank you. Next on our agenda is AR-4-22, 2400 South Clinton Avenue, Pierpont Visual Graphics, install awning over pedestrian door. Is anyone here from U of R? Okay.
Hello, you can hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. We're just gonna wait
Alright,
for
well,
the
I'm here now.
presentation to come up.
Okay, I have also with me, my name's Scott Zappia. How you doing? Also, as Mike Zengi, he's the senior project manager for the University of Rochester Real Estate. In case you have any questions as far as that end of it. But they're looking to install an awning over the entranceway. As you can see, it's pretty basic. You know, we kind of conform the shape of it to fit the entranceway. It's not illuminated. I don't know what's thinking. Any other questions?
Casey?
Final ramp. Go ahead.
Casey, you're muted.
Yep. Just two questions. It's cantilevered, right? There's no post coming down, just looking at the
Right.
one. Okay. And then what's the underside? Is it open or is there a finished ceiling?
It's open.
Okay, so what do you see? Just kind of
Casey, I
ribbing?
don't think you're coming through.
There's a frame, so you see the fabric.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
Stuart, you there?
I can't hear anybody.
Well, Casey's done, Stuart.
Okay, I hear you, Mary. All right, Andy,
I don't have any questions.
Mary?
You said it was fabric. What's it made out of exactly?
It's a vinyl laminated polyester awning. We just did one on 140 Canal View last year. Same material, 140 Canal View.
So it has an underlying metal structure?
Yes, frame.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have no questions, so
All right.
if there aren't any other questions or concerns, we can thank you for coming, and you can call
Okay.
Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer.
All right, very good. Appreciate your time.
Yep.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, gentlemen.
Thanks, Mike.
Next on our agenda is 4AR-5-22, 45 Knoll Top Drive. Jeffrey and Sarah Gardner, construct an addition to the side of an existing single-family dwelling. Are the Gardners here?
Yes, we're here.
Okay.
Thank you. My name's
Well,
Jeff
welcome.
Gardner. Oh, sorry. My name's Jeff Gardner. I'm the homeowner at 45 Knolltop Drive. And so before you today is our plan to rip down and demolish our existing one-car garage and family room that's to the rear and replace it with basically a two-story garage and family room and master bedroom suite above. So far we've been through the Zoning Board of Appeals to get a variance for the front yard setback. Our side yard and backyard or rear yard setbacks will remain unchanged. And so for the board, for this meeting, I've submitted the architect's plans for your review.
All set. Casey?
Can we walk through the drawings? I mean, can we?
Where'd you like to start,
Say
Casey?
more about what's going on.
Oh, sure. So on the, as you face the street or from the street on the left-hand side, if we go down to the second drawing there, if we come down one sheet, I'm sorry, I'm not driving. You can see the existing one-car garage is to be demolished off the structure and then replaced with the a one-car garage with a master bedroom above. So looking at it with the architect, we chose to match the existing roof line across the house and then add a gable facing out towards the street. And then the rest of the additional project towards the backyard, again, showing the area of demolition and tie into the house.
Any
I think we have-
questions, Casey?
You might want to show us the floor plan too. Sorry, Casey. I just wanted you to see the floor plan so you could see the window situation.
You definitely have a lack of windows on the one
Yeah.
side.
Can you show the second floor, please, Jason?
Well, it looks like there's two different types of elevations, one without windows and one's with. You zip back through. Right? Am I wrong? Keep going down.
You need the left side elevation.
Yeah, that'd be 2 sheets up.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so on the left side, there's on the top, on the upper floor, there's the two windows, which are the bedroom windows. Then there's the walk-in closet, but then there's a bathroom on the far left of the left side elevation, which has no windows there, which could have windows.
Right.
Window or windows. That's for Casey's benefit.
No, I agree with you. I think it's a lot of uninterrupted siding on that left side elevation, both above and below. So I could definitely, recommend looking at that. And it looks like you're also changing the awning above the main entrance. Is that correct?
Yeah, the plan was to match the existing, the awning over the main entrance is kind of falling down right now. So the plan was just to match them together.
Okay. How far out do those go? Looks like they're just being held up by brackets, so it's not as deep as your existing porch, correct?
I think actually they'll go the full 4 feet right now, because that was what the original we specified in the variance coming off for the existing stoop would be about 4 feet, if I remember correctly. It's almost shown on the survey there.
For the depth of it coming out of the house?
I think on the coming off the house, at least for the front door, probably 4 feet, because that's looking out the window right now about what we have to make the stoop. For the over the garage, I think we talked about 2 feet, because that's what's in the variance, is a 4 foot footprint coming out plus 2 feet for the overhang over the garage door.
I'd say look at page 2, well, page 3 of the PDF, because it definitely, the new one is not represented as coming out as deep as your existing porch. When you look at, page 3 of the PDF.
Left
Yep.
side elevation.
There you go. Scroll down. So you get your existing versus your new. Unless they're not showing us the same thing.
Well, you're going out 4 more feet on your new, on the end wall.
I think what you're seeing here, this is the one over
Oh.
the garage door, not the person door.
Okay. Okay, understood. All right. I don't know, I guess I'd want a little bit more information on what those overhangs are and how they're being supported, but that's all I got for now.
Andrew?
Yeah, I just have, need some clarifications on the materials that you're going to be utilizing. I know that those overhangs will start there. They're a metal roof structure, but what is the intent with the siding of the new addition? What are you replacing? What are you retaining? What's your color scheme? And all of that.
Okay. Well, so the original plan right now is to match existing. Right now, the house is cedar shake. My wife and I have tossed around potentially going to a vinyl that matches the cedar shake. As far as color, we've been kicking around the idea of like a darker gray or a navy blue to kind of be in character with the rest of the neighborhood. And I think black shutters, if I remember correctly. Black shutters, I'm being nodded correctly from across the room. So black shutters we were thinking.
Okay, so mixing 2 different material types like a vinyl siding and a
Yeah,
cedar
we plan to do
shake
it all
may not-
together. The house is gonna need it eventually anyway. So we've been kicking around whether or not it's time to step up anyway, because looking at the existing house, it's time for example, it's time for a roof. So we're gonna do the roof all the way through. And then whether or not it's cedar shakes all the way around the house or vinyl all the way around the house. We wouldn't do a disjointed material.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Yeah.
The other, I do agree that lack of windows on that
Left
on the
side.
left side elevation is a concern. It's a large expanse of uninterrupted siding in that area. So I would request that windows be placed somewhere in that space. In looking at the, I'm trying to flip to the drawing as I have it open, the front elevation. If you just, the front elevation, could you just explain why that the portion of the roof for the addition, the eave height is not the same eave height as the remainder of the second floor?
Yeah.
Why is that raised up?
Yeah, I believe it's to get the full 8-foot ceilings. Because in these older colonials, the second floor is like 7.5 feet usually in the ceilings on the second floor. So it's to get to a full 8-foot ceiling in a master.
Okay, very good. Okay, and I assume in the design of all this too, that downspouts will be considered and placement of those downspouts be considered so they are not directly in the front of the home and disguised a little bit, so they're not wholly evident.
Yeah, wrapped to the sides or, yes. I know right now we do have downspouts in the front of the house, but again, those all have to get redone with the roof, I think. So it's time.
Okay, very good. Stuart, I don't have anything further right now.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Mary?
I don't have anything further to add, except that I agree about the lack of windows on that side. Not only just adding them, but also looking at that side as a composition, like you did such a nice job with the front, with the window alignments and the doors and everything. And this side, should be treated the same way. So the windows may need to be added and also aligned properly or sized so that there's a coherent composition on that side of the house. That's the thing that I think is lacking, but we'll discuss. And so thank you, Stuart. I'm fine.
Yeah. So my only comments and concerns are, again, windows on that left side. And then my second comment on that left side is that gable end, is there any way that may be able to come down and finish lower than your roof line? Yeah, carry those down
Are we
in.
talking the gable on the back or
On the left side elevation? So it would be the east side, I think.
Yes, so that gable there, that's the continuation of the roof coming across, you're saying, right?
Yeah, almost bring that down even lower, just to kind of looks like it was pasted on. Sorry to borrow your term, Mary.
I'd have to check with the engineer on that one, just because.
I mean, it can be just an
I'm not sure what that
impression on the outside. It's not going to really change your interior space.
Right.
So just bring the line down, right, Stuart?
Yeah, bring the ends of it right down, and that's the only thing. And you know what? I may get outvoted in the deliberation, so who knows? But it's just a thought.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking how we could do that on the inside, follow that around and match from the front too, to keep up with it. But
The front works. I think it's just kind of, it looks like they took their detail from the front and just put it on the side.
Okay.
Or I think it almost could come down a little bit, but I don't know.
Which
Anyways, I have nothing else. I assume your garage door dimensions are the same as existing.
I think it actually might be just a little taller, actually, to go for a 9-foot high versus a standard. It's one of those 1940s tilt up ones. I think barely a 7. So, or I'm sorry, what did I got? It's just a little bit wider, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe I
on
got
the proposed, it almost looks shorter, but anyways.
Okay.
Those
That's
are my
9 by 7.
comments. So 7-foot height.
Yeah.
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 So I think what you can do is call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer.
Okay, thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you.
I do have one question. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I was just looking at the PDFs on my end. I just want to confirm the new windows, the overall height and the sills will align, correct? Because like when you literally draw a line across this, that 6'10" window is actually placed higher than the adjacent windows. It looks like it's the same size. So that's why I'm just confirming that everything will align.
Yeah. Are you looking from the front of the front elevation right now? Is that what
Yeah, yep.
Yes, they'll align. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks like a drawing mistake. It's just.
That's what I was hoping is that, but it was very clear on the window height. So didn't want it being like all the new ones are now 4 inches higher than the old ones.
No, they'll be the same. They'll be the same as they face the street. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
We all set? So I see GRH is on. Should we go back to the old business 3AR-4-22? I believe that was our last new business.
Yeah.
don't we have two more?
There are two
Yep,
more new
more.
business, but
Oh,
whatever
there
you'd
are?
like to do, Stuart.
Let's go through the new business. 4AR-6-22, 407 Brooklawn Drive, Timothy and Ellen Mahar. Construct a new front porch on existing single-family dwelling. I apologize, it didn't scroll far enough down.
Yes.
Are the Mahars on?
Tim is on, and I've asked him to unmute. And he appears to have left just now.
All right, well, let's move on to the next one. 4AR-7-22, 166 North Landing Road, Peterson's Home Improvement. Remove overhead door and replace with windows and a wall. Are they on?
Yes, I saw that Kerm was on. Kerm Peterson.
I'm here.
All right, Kerm, go right ahead.
Really, as far as the architectural board would be concerned is we're just removing the garage door, which is an 8x7. It's a standard garage door, and replacing it with the same kind of cedar siding that was originally there. We were able to get 2 boxes, so it'll match perfectly. And the window is slightly smaller as far as the width wise as the door. And there's 3 awning windows that are in there. And we're just going to fill in the cedar siding below it. I'll stack it so it doesn't look like if there's any fading on the old siding to the new siding, it shouldn't make a difference.
Okay, any questions, Casey?
Might have missed it, but do you have information on the new windows?
The original windows in the house are all Pella. These new windows are going to match that same style. We bought exactly from Pella. I don't think I submitted a photo of the window. I wasn't asked for it. I could submit it. There's a photo of the door, the side door on the west side of the building is going to move up about 10 inches and be replaced by a newer door, a newer man door.
Okay. And I guess, what was the design decision on doing these higher windows? It doesn't seem consistent with the adjacent windows in the house.
They're going to be all at the same level. It's not higher. It's just the old overhead door is coming out and the windows are going in its place, and they'll be the height of 6'8", which is consistent throughout the house.
I guess I meant more like the sill then. Why are they short and long versus, full height windows consistent with the rest of the house?
That's the owner's request. That's what they wanted. They didn't want tall windows for, if somebody was to come down the driveway and peep in the house, these would be a lot harder to see into because they're higher. And that's what they wanted.
But this is now the front of their house,
Correct.
not.
Yeah. And that's why they're not long and skinny, or long and tall, I should say, or skinny and tall. They're, shorter for that reason, but the height of the windows is gonna match the height of all the windows around the house, so.
Okay, I guess, do you have an example of what does the grid pattern look like? Because again, all the windows that we see in photos are all tall and long, and they have a very unique grid pattern that is expressing that verticality. So what would these new kind of squatty or square windows look like?
The grid pattern is the same as this image right here. If you look all the way to the right, in that window that's the farthest over, it's very similar to that grid pattern.
But cut off.
But shorter. Yeah, I mean, realistically, the only difference is these longer windows have one long piece that comes down, and the grid pattern is going to be very similar to the top of these windows, like those squares that you're seeing. So it's going to match. I mean, that the one difference that Pella couldn't do is the new design of the window doesn't match exactly, but it's very similar. These old windows, they have the grid inside the window. The new windows will have the grid on the inside of the window, you know, that you can be attached and removed to clean. They're not quite the same, but they've got the same look.
Okay. All right, that's all I had.
Andy?
So just to follow up on the window, so it's the same color frame on the new windows, and you would do the same color trim around the windows?
Exactly. Yep. We found matching trim. It's the same color as what's already there, and it's just going to be bent the same as the rest of the windows.
Okay. Is that window that you were mentioning on the right-hand side of that photo, is that also a short window, or is that a long window?
All the windows in the house are long and skinny per se. But these windows are just going to be more, they're closer to like a 2x2, a 2 foot by 2 foot. I mean, I have the sizes somewhere in the information that I gave you.
Yeah, 2 foot floor is what it says.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. And then, yeah, with the siding going below them and it being on the front of the house, the only thing that you're going to really see, other than, you know, the left of the house that's architecturally present when you're walking down the driveway, it shouldn't make a big difference because they're almost identical to the rest of the house.
Right.
I mean, we were able to use the same manufacturer and they were able to get the same style. Almost everything's the same. Yeah, same color, everything. So
What are you doing anything treatment wise to the concrete apron in front of the garage?
no. There's already an existing drain in front of the garage. And there wouldn't be any reason to do, you know, anything to the apron unless, you know, it was requested.
Well, I'm just thinking that it's still going to look like a garage, even though you have windows placed in there, it's still going to look like a garage because you have concrete that then butts immediately up to the house. That was my only comment. That if that remains, then, you know, you're trying to make this look like it was original to the house per se, okay? And then having the driveway dead end and having that concrete apron still going into the house leads you to believe that it was a garage at one point. That's all.
Just to give you a perfect example, is the trim is only going to be around the windows. It's not going to drop all the way to the bottom like it is now. The green trim is all going to be removed. It'll only be around the windows, and the siding is going to fill in under the windows from the side of the house to the side of the house. And you won't see that distinction of like driving into the house like you're suggesting. I mean, the concrete kind of matches the walk a little bit because the walk is fieldstone. But if you wanted the concrete stained to match, that's not really hard at all. I mean, any stain will penetrate the concrete and last. I'm sure they're going to seal the driveway at some point, and then they'll seal the concrete at this point at the same time. So
Exactly to my point.
got you.
But that's it's minor at this point. Okay.
Okay.
No, I don't have any other questions, Stuart.
Okay, Mary?
Maybe they're gonna come back in a few months and with a garage design to put in front of it, Andrew.
No,
Block those windows? Come on.
No, I'm just making a crack, sorry.
okay.
Anyway, no, I mean, you're not gonna have a garage.
Right. Yeah. I mean, realistically, all that they're storing right now is their snow blower in their garage and some landscaping tools. It's I don't know what they're going to do with the remaining things that they have in their garage. I mean, they're usually using their garage really as just like an extra storage room at this point, but they have a basement that they can store everything into. So, I mean, they want this room to be more of a mud room / washer dryer room.
Right.
As they age, they don't want to walk all the way to the basement to use their washer and dryer. This is just going to be a room that's going to be just more functional, as a mudroom. So.
And did I miss it? They don't use a car?
They don't park the car in the garage. The garage is very small. I mean, as you can see by the drive, it's not really. It's not a really small, like Honda Civic could fit in there, but realistically anything bigger than that's not going to fit in that garage.
Yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, I think the other questions have already been asked by my colleagues, so I'm all set, Stuart.
Okay, thank you, Mary. I have no questions, so I want to thank you for coming tonight, and you can call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the owner has a question or a statement. Stuart.
I don't know if the owner's on there.
Yeah. Bob is raising his hand. Well, we asked you to unmute Bob, so if you can click on the unmute button. You have to unmute yourself, Bob.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Hello, thank you. I just wanted to add a little bit more information here. It's never been a garage. When we've been in this house, next year it'll be 30 years. We've basically decided, as I think Kerm referred to it, my wife and I, that we're going to stay here rather than move to Ireland. So in order to make it more accessible for us over time, what has been a storage space since we built a kitchen, et cetera, over the years and resided it, will be, as he put it, a utility room so that we can stay in Brighton. And although we're both healthy in our 70s, we know that that's limited. So the aesthetics are all done through my wife's history as a graphic artist, and the craftsman style is something that we both have built into the house and will continue to. So it won't look like the garage. The reason the cement is there, by the way, with the drain is because of the elevation, or should I say, the fact that the water, snow, everything that melts goes downhill. And for the longest time, it would creep into the house through the garage, the storage space. Unfortunately, Penfield has helped us and we've rerouted, et cetera, et cetera. So if you require us to paint that or otherwise make it look like it's something other than what it is, I'm sure it's something we can accommodate, but it's not going to look like a garage.
Yeah, I'm just going to interject. It's really not in our preview to be talking about ground plane or garage aprons or anything. So, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with it looking like a garage because that's exactly what it was. So,
okay, thank you for your time and attention. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And thanks for staying in Brighton. Although Ireland is not a bad place. So,
it's either that or the south of France.
all right.
You
need a gardener?
My wife's the gardener. A farmer, really.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. You can call Jeff's office in the morning.
Thank you. Thank you, Kerm.
All right, can we go back to old business 3AR-4-22, 2720 West Henrietta Road, GRH, Raza Our Manish. Full exterior interior renovation of existing steel building for conversion to a supermarket. Hi,
Yes, good
welcome.
afternoon. This is Reza. I'm the architect for this project. We came to the board last time, and then based on the request, there was 2 items that was brought up. One was that to provide samples of the Eaves system. Also, one other suggestion was that to provide a water table that is not Eaves. So what I chose to do, I had 2 choices: either go with polished or polished block, or which is more expensive, or go with like hardy plank or Allura. We chose Allura because Allura was a little bit more economical. So there are basically the bottom is a cement fiber or fiber cement boards. They're coming 12 foot. The exposure is 7 inches. Basically, the joints are V-shaped, but it's lock joints. Lock joints, they go into each other. Once they come together, they create a V-shaped thing. So the intent was to basically make it a little bit look like an actual stone or block, but this was the closest. So of course, the red that you see is too red. I submitted the colors. The computer is really difficult to bring out the red, but the colors that I suggested based on the samples that I provided was these. Of course, I selected a different color than the owner. The owner selected the top. I wanted to do something different than the one that all around that area is all earth tone colors, but the owner selected, and I guess owner is always right. Not always, but at least you got to try to accommodate what the colors that they want to have. So we're gonna go with the like 27 times 4 is 28 inches high water table with the cement board, which is the Allura. And then from there up, we go with the Eaves system, which is based on the stove. And basically the system that I'm picking also is the Lotus. Lotus is what's nice about it when you finish, when you spray it and the dust and everything comes off. Couple other things is that the main fill, with the, like at least on the drawing that we see, the light red, which is not going to be light red, it's kind of more maroon color. Light red is going to be kind of a fine, as you see the texture, a fine texture. But the banding and the columns or colonnades, they would be more limestone. That's pretty much one other thing that the owner is asking. I show metal roofing because you can see it. Owner was asking, metal roof is expensive. Can we go with basically half lap or like basically modified build up roof, but with granules, like maybe reddish black granules to match the building? I said I will bring it up because last time when I came to the board, the roof was supposed to be, it's about 1/12 slope. It's very shallow slope. It was supposed to be a metal roof, standing seam metal roof. So I said, I'll bring it up to the board attention. If they approve it, then we can change.
All set?
Yes, sir.
Casey?
I'm good. I don't have any questions or comments. Thank you.
Andy?
Yeah, thank you very much for the explanation on the facade and the elements you're going to be using there. Regarding the roof itself, I mean, thinking a metal roof is going to be a far better choice for longevity with such a shallow pitch versus an aggregate, a style roof. That would be a concern of mine just for longevity purposes on the building. What does the existing building have? Isn't that a metal roof?
Yes, it's a structural metal roof that is deck, and it's a steel deck. It's basically, the building is a pre-engineered building. The bays are about 20 foot apart, and the deck, there is no per se any deck. It's the roof is a structural roof deck, but they have so many punches in it that when you look at it, it's pretty bad. So what I suggested, what I propose is to take that off completely, provide me 1.5 inch corrugated 20 gauge metal deck, then put the basically dense deck, then put ice and water shield and put the metal roof in. I was just trying, I'm very conservative on roof because I don't want headache with the roof, because most of the roofs kind of with this, as you mentioned, is 112 is really shallow slope. So it's, I like to go a little bit further than normal, but they were asking, is it more expensive than roll roofing? I said, yes, it is, but it's a better roof. It lasts longer. The only concern they had, if we want to put something on the roof, then we have to call a specialist. I said, yes. The intent is not to try to put the big HVAC units on the roof. They're going to come down. So I'm proposing 3 5-ton Daikin or Mitsubishi system ductless or mini split. So I'm proposing it to put it along the south side and the back side of the building, not on the north side, and basically fence it in as opposed to put it on the roof, because they were concerned if you're going to put something on the roof, the metal roof is tougher. I said, yes, it is. It's a little bit tougher. You need the curb and all that. But my intent is not to put anything on the roof, because when I've driven by there several times and I see the roof from the road. So I'd rather not put anything on the roof. I'd rather put all the equipment on a concrete slab on the grade, because there's going to be 3 5-ton Mitsubishi ductless system, and that should be enough for the 11,000 square foot.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm good, Stuart. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Mary?
Yeah, on the roof, I agree. I think the metal is better. With that pitch, you don't want to add any friction, because the water will move better on the metal of the standing seam roof. And everything else, I think you addressed what we asked you to. So that's all I have to say, Stuart. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I have no questions or comments. I appreciate you coming back this evening and presenting to us. You can call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer.
I apologize for being delayed because I tried to get on, but I wasn't able to. I don't know, somehow I had issues with the internet, but I apologize about that.
No worries. No worries. It worked out.
All right. Thank you for hearing me.
Yep. Thank you.
Sure. Have a nice evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Did the Mahars show back up?
No, I don't know what happened to them. They were here right up until they were set to go on. So
who is DOS 20?
That's the Smullins, Dwayne Smullin.
Okay. So move on to signs.
Bear with me just a sec.
We have signed 1642 first. Casey, any comments?
Nope, I'm good.
Andrew?
No, this is okay. I assume that image is part of their company designation.
Yeah, I've never seen that, water picture before in their stuff, but
yeah, neither have I. That's why I asked.
I wonder if it's specific to this site, if they have a therapy pool or something like that in there. Who knows? So you're concerned about the logo?
I just, clarification about the logo, but otherwise I'm fine with the sign. So
Mary, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Andy.
I mean, their physical therapy and sports rehabilitation logo is actually more medical looking on their website.
Yep, I agree. Mary?
Yeah, I'm not gonna make any trouble about it.
Okay. Looks like it's approved as presented.
All right, I'm gonna go back on what I said. Every single one of their locations, no, I went a little bit deeper. Every single one of their locations has a different image associated with it.
Yeah, so I wonder if it's site specific.
It could be site specific. Yep. Okay.
Okay, 1643. Casey?
Reviewing it. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Andy?
I'm fine with it.
Mary?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. And I'm good with it. Approved as presented. On to 1644. Casey, are you ready?
I don't have time to look at these things ahead of time, just because we get them now. Channel lit, looks like. Yes. Yeah, I'm good.
Andrew?
Yeah, so Jason, did they have to go and get a variance for this? There seems to be a lot of information in this particular application showing 2 signs on buildings, 2 signs on buildings. Is that something that they actually had to go through?
I believe they did or are in the process. Jeff, do you? They submitted, they're in the process of getting. Got to unmute yourself, Jeff.
Okay, so they are going to get a variance for 2 signs.
Oh, yeah, they're in the process of getting a variance.
Okay, so, and one seems to be one's a smaller sign than the other, is what I see here.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, otherwise, I'm fine with the sign and the makeup of the sign as it's presented.
Hey, thank you. Mary?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what they're showing these lines that in the front view, I think it's supposed to locate signs for other establishments. And
Oh,
then
on the
down
other-
below, if you scroll down, they're showing a Starbucks or something. I'm just wondering how, if it goes out of the range of where the other signs are going to be located. I don't know what this is supposed to tell us here.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The Starbucks is a different building. They're just kind of showing that there's.
Oh, they're
signs on
showing that
multiple-
other people have medallions along with their name or 2 signs?
They're showing that they have multiple signs on different spaces.
Okay, so if you go back to the first one, those 2 lines that go across the whole building, I wonder if that was meant to be where all of the lettering was going to be located, because they're a little higher up than that. Otherwise, I don't have any problems with it. I was just wondering what those lines were for.
I think it was the stands that they're gonna have previously, but I think they're taking over a lot of that location, so they're not gonna have signs on a good portion of that building now.
Oh, okay. The only concern was, then if you take that and slide it across, there's going to be a problem when you get to that lower cornice situation. But if they're not having any signs there, then I wouldn't worry about that. It was just, I was concerned about all the potential signage on the facade being aligned properly.
We'll have to deal with that if it comes in.
Good
They're taking over
idea.
that. They're taking over that whole 126 feet. They're taking this whole, what they're showing. That's all gonna be fidelity.
Okay. No problem then.
I have no issues with it. So on to the next one is 1645, 24 South Clinton Ave. The U of R one.
That's a sign and an architectural item?
So it's coming in as a sign as well.
Yeah, so my understanding is it's reviewed twice, once as the awning, which is a architectural feature visible from the road, and then secondarily for the signage on said awning.
Okay, gotcha. All right, I'm okay with it.
Andrew,
I'm good.
Mary,
Yep.
all right, approved as presented. Next is 1646. 1890 Monroe Ave.
These are the ones we don't need to review, correct? Because these are administratively done because they meet the sign code.
Correct. There's existing sign plans for both of these properties. You're welcome to look at them if you like, but we don't need to review them.
Let's jump into our project approvals. You guys good with that?
Mhm.
Back to 3AR-1-22. I can't remember what it is.
The front porch.
Yeah. Casey?
We're not bringing it up.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, just to refresh our memories.
Okay, there was a few front porches. Okay, that one. It's okay. I mean, it's still kind of weird that they didn't align, the eaves with the adjacent one. But at least it got higher, so they fixed a lot of those issues. So I'm okay with it.
Okay. Andy?
Yeah, I'm okay with it as well as presented, but I would add on that suggestion of that lower railing on the left-hand side to come over to frame the front door. I think, Mary, that might have been your suggestion, and I think that's a good one. I personally wouldn't have that as a condition. I would have, my position would be a recommendation.
And then if they do it, they don't need to come back.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought that was a good suggestion.
Thank you. It looks a little leaky, the space in the front.
Leaky?
The space is leaking. Well, then what's the point of having the railing on the side? If you're not going to turn the corner with it. Anyway, thank you. I agree. That's the only thing I would say is let's suggest that. I think it will frame the door better and they'll be glad they did it.
Okay.
But just so I understand, if they don't do that, you want them to come back? So it is kind of a condition.
No, it's just a recommendation.
Yeah,
Okay.
to do create a return on the railing that would have a half post, like the one that's done on the back right corner.
Right, yeah.
So
At
it's
the same
approved,
distance from the side lights as the other post.
approved with a recommendation.
That's a new flavor.
And Stuart, you had the comment about raising that post on the rear all the way up to the underside.
Yeah, either taking that column all the way up, I do it as a recommendation, or a plaster on the wall. I just think that looks flimsy. It's leaky.
Well, if it's vinyl siding though, that's going to be hard to do a pilaster.
So they do the column.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have pilasters that can snap on, probably.
A pasty pilaster.
You got it.
Yeah, so seeing it from that point of view, it does look kind of odd. They can take that and use it over on the other side. They've
There
already
you
bought
go.
it.
They have two now. They can stack them. Okay, everyone good on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 3AR-3-22. What was that, Casey?
The roof drives me nuts on this one. At least they went back and they figured it out. I still think it's a crazy roof. I don't love it. But if everyone else is fine with it, I'll go with the flow.
Thank God for plants. You okay with it?
Yeah.
Andy?
Yeah, I'm not in love with the roof, but I could approve this as presented.
Okay, Mary?
Did they already get, do they need to get a building permit for this still?
Or
Well, yeah, doesn't that come after us?
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll be able to comb out that roof a little bit. But anyway, as far as what it looks like, I think, you know, it's acceptable. So I would approve it as presented.
okay. Approved as presented. 3AR-4-22, our grocery store.
I was fine with that. I was kind of Googling what the Allura was, but essentially it's siding. It's like hardy board.
Okay, so you're good as presented, Casey?
Yep.
Andy?
Yeah, I'm fine with this, but the on the roof, I think I would stay with a metal roof on this, and just for all of the reasons that were discussed earlier.
Okay. Mary?
Yeah, I agree with what Andy said. I think that it is a metal roof as it's presented, but just to be sure, I think we should call that out.
Okay. And I'm good. I'm good with the suggestion as well.
A recommendation or a condition?
Condition.
Well, it's not really a condition though, because that's how it was presented. This is approved as presented with the assumption that the roof, metal roof will be maintained in the design or something like that. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's not a condition because it was presented as a metal.
I mean,
Which I mean, you kind of do sometimes, you know, with the minutes, don't you? You know, you kind of outline a couple things that were discussed, and because we just feel like metal roof.
Okay.
Like approved as presented.
It's just a technicality. I understand. I just want to make sure that it's spelled out one way or
approved
another.
as presented, committee, boom, condition, metal roof, something like that. Or as discussed with the metal roof. You always put a note. Everyone good?
Yes.
So new business is 4AR-1-22. Ooh, table. Sorry.
See? Ooh.
Casey? Casey?
Tabled. I don't even know how to make it better, but tabled.
Andrew?
Yeah, I would table this as well.
Mary?
I'm jumping on the bandwagon to table it.
Shit, I got outvoted again.
What are you gonna do? Approve it? Were you gonna approve it or just deny?
Oh,
You
I'm
said it
busting
first.
chops. I denied it. Okay. 4AR-2.
Oh, hold on. Do we know what's the commentary that anybody has, Jason or Jeff, on the tabling and the information you have?
Height's a concern, design's a concern. Drainage is a concern. All of the above.
Conflict with downspout.
Compatibility with the rest of the house.
Window.
Did you get it all, Jason? All right.
Keep it generic.
I did like the color though.
What color?
4AR-2-22.
They should get the U of R to do the little canopy roof because it'll match their little arch in the front of the house.
There you go.
Casey?
I was mostly okay with it. I think we just needed to clarify some stuff, but you brought up some other things that I didn't quite follow. So
About the roof.
yeah,
So
I got a little confused.
if you look at the ridge line of the proposed roof and you
Mhm.
look at the ridge line of the existing garage in the drawing, so you, on the right-hand side, that ridge of the garage roof,
Yeah,
right there, in the drawing, that is lower than the proposed roof for the porch.
Oh,
Right.
I don't know that we see that actually though, because.
Yeah, I don't think I
is there
see
another
that.
one?
That's my,
This
you
is
know
not the
what?
ridge line of the garage. This is
No.
where the gable of the garage meets the end gable of the house. So the ridge line of the garage is higher than where it hits.
But not by
gable.
much, not by much. So if I look at the concept, that's still pretty high if you look at the photo. So all I'm asking, I threw that out. See if you can come up with an answer.
well, we don't have the rest of this drawing. It's cut
Right.
off. We can't
Oh.
see where the ridge line of the garage is, just the front part.
Right.
That line, I understand what Jason's saying. It's higher. It's hard
I'm
to
the one
tell.
saying it's, yeah. But anyways, it's a concern of mine. That's all I brought it up. So,
No, thank you. That helps because I was looking at the elevation. I'm like, I see the line. It's lower, but what is it? And that now I understand.
I mean, when you compare it to the photograph, that
Right.
roof potentially could be massive for such a little space underneath it.
It really is a big roof for that little space. It keeps going and going. It's like twice as deep as the space is.
But so that was my comment, Casey. Your critique, comments?
Wait, they were just going around the room for yeas and nays.
I didn't hear you, sorry.
Are we doing comments right now, or are we just going around saying table or approved?
Yeah, but we're trying to do an approval here.
Okay, so I guess I would be approved with the conditions, and the condition being, trim board, cross east elevation, and I don't remember, other people had some comments, I believe.
You all set?
Yeah.
Andy?
Yeah, I would approve with conditions. I'm actually looking on Bing or Google Street View of that garage roof line and the location of this roof. And I think Stuart, it's hard to tell based upon the ground shot up whether or not that roof will meet the garage eave. But as part of a condition, maybe that is stated.
Yeah.
That the eave heights, or I'm sorry, the ridge height of the new roof is to be no higher than the ridge line of the garage. And then the other, I think Casey just said the banding along the front has to be resolved. Show some form of trim or finish to the front of the porch. And that's all I had.
Okay. Mary?
Sounds good to me. I just, the trim board.
Didn't you have something about the bottom of the base of the deck or something?
No, I didn't go to the lattice. I didn't want to touch it.
Went to the former, did you? I'm good with Andy's comments and I'm okay with it. On to the next one. Everyone good?
Yep.
4 AR-3-22 Penfield Road, solar. Casey?
I mean, I would personally table it or deny it. based on design and exposed conduits.
Okay. Which one? Table?
Table to be nice.
Okay, Andy?
I would actually approve this with conditions.
And your conditions are?
I do like the idea of staggering the left side panel array by taking off that lower piece and bringing it up to the top so that we have a 444 and then a 222 situation. I don't think that the conduits, now this is purely based on nothing more than looking at the house and then looking at the array. You know, every time I drive by, it's so fast because I'm doing 45 miles an hour on Penfield Road. I don't think that you'll actually see those conduits. I know we don't like them. I'm not in favor of them on the roof, but if that is the only direction that they can go, I would be hard pressed to deny it based upon, you know, the architecture of the house today.
Okay. Mary?
I'll go along with that. Add one, top row right, remove one, bottom row right. They're gonna get a lot of shade anyway. Conduit situation. I think we're gonna have this problem as we go along and I don't know. I would be satisfied if they just rearranged the panels. They would lose one in that arrangement. So.
Yeah, I just think it's a slippery slope with the conduits. Like, why can't you get it inside?
Exactly.
I guess that's where I always come from. Like,
because there's blown insulation, attach
Right,
it to the
so-
insulation.
go crawl up there
It's
and then replace
expense. It's just from the money.
So
It's-
Mary, that
Porch,
amount of conduit right there and wire is probably about $4,500.
No, I'm not talking about that, Stuart. They don't want to perforate the roof and all that stuff.
Why? It's already,
That's a part of the.
they're
I
gonna
mean,
be doing it all over the place
No, I'm just trying to imagine why they would have a problem with going into it.
because it's more profitable to do it the way they're doing it.
Well, right. That's what I'm saying. It's
Right.
about money.
Right.
But we may be missing something too. That those could be cathedral ceilings on that second floor. You don't know that.
We're only going on what they told us, Andy.
Right.
He said it's because of the blown in insulation.
And
Oh, I
say it
didn't
was a
catch that.
cathedral,
Yeah.
and say it was a cathedral ceiling. What happens if an owner says, well, I don't want the conduits inside my ceiling? Well, we don't want it on the public side.
Well, you slide them underneath you got wiring underneath your drywall anyways in your
Yeah.
ceilings, right?
No
So,
matter what, it can fit at least in a small cavity.
So what are we gonna do? Table it? They know what they know what the problems we have with it.
yeah, I mean, I'm good if they can resolve the conduit issue. I mean, I don't want to hang this up because of that, but painting is not going to resolve it. Unless he's got a 30-year roof that will never have to be replaced, then he won't have to replace those conduits.
What if they brought the conduit over the top of the roof and ran it on the back? So the front conduit was.
Oh, because you got visibility from the back road on Cheswell. And the other issue is we've set a precedence all over. I mean, we just denied a couple of projects that were running conduit over roofs.
Right.
So,
Yes. So it's up to them to come up with the solution.
That's
It's
right.
just, we're just saying it's not acceptable to have the conduit that visible or to have that arrangement of panels. So they
Yeah,
come back with
otherwise-
another proposal. We'll look at it.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm good with tabling it.
He knew we were going to table it anyway. I could tell.
They were hopeful.
So everyone good with the table?
I am.
Yeah, that's fine. And so what we're asking them to do, I mean, the same thing, we want the staggering, but it's really resolution of the conduit and the conduit runs is what they need to resolve.
Right, we can ask them to stagger the panels and then resolve the conduit issue. I mean, we really don't have to tell them anything, right? It's up for them to come back.
Yeah,
Well, we typically give them reasons why we're tabling.
Okay, well, I think it's conduits and the,
visibility of conduits, arrangements of panels, arrangement of panels.
I mean, these are only gonna get more and more challenging as we go ahead. So I think it's strong, important to stick to previous
Yeah.
decisions and hold ourselves up.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get, and I don't disagree. I think we're gonna get into more and more of this when we get into some of the older homes.
Yep. And I'm glad they're using rigid conduit. I mean, it could be a mess if they didn't. So
Personally speaking, I wish they wouldn't put solar panels on this house at all, but.
I agree with
Agreed.
that, but I don't think we can tell them that.
This is one of my most favorite houses to look at when I'm going down in that direction. Love
And
looking at this house.
And they've done such a great job on rehabbing it.
Yeah,
And probably next year they could buy shingles that are solar and put them on.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. This technology is going to be superseded by.
Yeah, it's antiquated by now.
Yeah. Okay, so
on to 4A-422.
There it is again.
Casey,
Approved.
what do you mean you're denying it? We approved the sign.
I know it's kind of moot, isn't it?
The
Andy,
sign was fine. I hate the awning.
I would approve it.
Mary,
Approved.
and approved as presented. All right. So what's the next one? Okay. What did I do with this one? Let's see. All right, Casey?
I probably go for table, just out of the discussions about adding more windows on the left side and the roof, tying in the roof. I feel like we'd want to see it again.
Okay, so you want a table? Andy?
All right, Casey, when you say tie in the roof, do you mean on the left side here or on the front as well?
I was okay with just the left side. Although I think it looks a little weird on the front too.
I was just gonna say, I would actually ask that they try to do the same thing on the front.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like our house, what we have is it just it chamfers right at the very front. And so they would almost have to mimic that detail if they want their ceilings to go up a little higher, on the interior. But that's what you get with older homes.
Okay, Casey, you're all set? Andy?
Yeah, I would table for those reasons, the windows, and the two roofs.
Okay, Mary?
You mean try to match the eaves better and on the roofs, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. My only concern is they come back with they just paste the window on there. So I'm wondering if we can direct them a little bit about the composition or the alignment and the size of the windows as well. But I guess we can't really do that. But anyway, I agree with the tabling for those two same reasons.
It's not our problem, but hard to put windows in a closet and over a vanity, I guess.
Not really. You're daylight in a closet. That would work.
Yeah, daylight in a closet's great.
Be creative on the inside.
I think you could definitely benefit from a window over the sink. Sure, you could have window mirror, for example, it wouldn't be a huge window maybe, but anyway, yes, you could also have it in the closet. There's no doubt about it.
So Mary, are you tabling?
Yeah,
Okay. And I am tabling for consensus on the other comments. So for AR-6-22 is tabled for no show or denied. No prejudice.
We've tabled them before with, because of no representation.
I think you
Yeah.
get one month tabled, so they get one shot to come back.
Yep, so that's tabled. For AR-7-22, Casey,
I'd probably approve it. Honestly, I looked online and I couldn't even see the house. Like it's so far back. So I'd be fine approving it.
Andy,
I'm fine with approving it based upon presentation, but I think that maybe my comment about that concrete area wasn't digested. I mean, it does look like, and will continue to look like, a driveway going into a house. Painting, staining it does not change that aspect whatsoever.
but I don't know if it's under our jurisdiction. It's
Well-
like commenting about a sidewalk, right?
Not a sidewalk. I mean, it's the base of a building. And we would comment about the siding being so close down to the surface of a sidewalk on any other structure. And we would force the issue of having some kind of base to it, you know? So, and I'm fine. If everybody else is fine with it, I'm fine. It's just, I think it may look peculiar. That's all.
well, sure, they could bring the stone pathway right straight across. It would be on the outside of the strip drain and they'd cut the asphalt back a little bit. But
Yep.
I think Stuart's right. It's not our stuff and everything else about it is fine. I would approve it as presented.
Hopefully the contractor chews it up with his equipment. They have to replace it.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we see this, around multiple locations of Brighton. You can tell when it used to be a garage. It's pretty darn obvious when your asphalt goes right up to the house. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you made it into a family room.
Yeah.
It's
I
goofy.
know, but
I don't disagree.
It's goofy and peculiar looking.
Yeah.
well, maybe they'll see that when they get done, when it's not a garage door anymore.
I mean,
No,
everything's
what they
pretty,
should do is rip out the apron and put in some plantings. Continue
That's-
their bed.
That's what I was and they could preserve the drain that's down there. You rip out the concrete and you put that red stone or mulch that they have and you continue it across that area. And now all of a sudden it's house.
Right.
Well, I would just continue the pathway across so they can get to their garbage container. If this is all about them having a more accessible experience, then I wouldn't put plants in the pathway
Yeah,
between the door.
I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna approve. as
Right.
presented.
We're approving it, right? So let's let it go.
Agreed.
So everyone good?
Yep.
All right, I think that's it for April 2022.
Thank you all for your patience as I learned how to wrangle the technology.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, you're doing a good job, Jason.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
You just
Well,
push some buttons, you're all good.
yeah, well, hopefully at some point we'll meet in person soon, so.
Yeah.
Hopefully so.
Well, everyone have a good month. We'll see you in May and welcome to spring and head on to summer.
All right.
Thank you. See ya.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.